Once upon a time, there lived a girl named Urina. Urina was from the Ofo tribe. She was the only child of her parents. Her parents were older when they had her. Her father's name was Ejiofor. Ejiofor was a very good businessman. He had done business with many people. One of such people was Nduka. Nduka was his very good friend. Now one day Nduka came to see Ejiofor, and as they were talking, he saw Urina. He liked her and told Ejiofor he wanted to marry Urina. Urina had grown up to be a beautiful young lady. Ejiofor was hesitant. It had taken years before the gods had blessed them with Urina. Left for him, he would have wanted Urina to stay with them for as long as possible. But Nduka promised him that he would take care of Urina. He will let no harm come to her. He will protect her. Now, when Ejiofor told his wife, she as well was also hesitant. Nduka was from the Aziza tribe. He was not from that tribe. If Urina went to, she may be treated as a foreigner. But Ejiofor assured her that Nduka would take care of her. Nduka was a very wealthy man. He was one of the richest men, both in Aziza and Ofo. He had the means and the resources to take care of Urina and give her all she wants. Now, during this time, Nduka did everything to show her parents that he would take care of her. And slowly, Urina began to like him. So her parents allowed her to marry Nduka. When Urina got to the Aziza tribe, she noticed that the people were different. They had lighter skin than she did. But she was very beautiful and she was confident in herself. Nduka, her husband, loved her so much and gave her everything she wanted. Now, at first, the people were hesitant to get close to her, but eventually, they began to associate with her. She made a few friends and started her own business as well. But as the years went by, gossip started to spread. It had been 4 years now, and Urina had not yet given birth to a child. Now, Nduka's people were very angry and upset, and they told him he had to take a second wife. At first, Nduka did not want to take the second wife. He told his people to be patient, that Urina would give birth to a child. What are you talking about? His mother said. I told you to marry a girl from our tribe. He said no. You have brought this one here, and since 4 years she has been here, she has not even had one miscarriage. Who told you that she can give birth to a child for you? I told you not to go to that tribe. Eh? Look at it now. Now, Nduka told his wife what his people were planning, and she agreed. She told him that he can take a second wife. After all, he was older than her, and she wanted him to have children as soon as possible. So Nduka agreed, and he took a second wife. The second wife, her name was Erima. She was from the Aziza tribe, and within a year, she had conceived. She gave birth to a son. Nduka and his people were very happy. Urena as well was happy. However, things began to change. Erima began to torment her, calling her barren. Now, when Urena would complain to Nduka, Nduka will encourage her and tell her not to feel bad. He still loved her and he would not forsake her, he said. As the years went by, Erima gave birth to 3 more children, 2 girls. Now his people told him to take a third wife so that the third wife would give him more sons. And that is what he did. He took another wife and she gave him 2 sons. This was now 10 years and still Urena had not yet given birth to a child. Gradually, Nduka's love began to vanish. He did not love Urena anymore. He did not care for her anymore. The wives would bully and gang up against Urena, and Urena would cry and cry and cry. By this time, her parents had died because they were very old and had died of old age. She had no one to turn to. The friends she had made when she came to Aziza, had turned their backs against her. Urena gradually became a depressed person. She cried to the gods and asked them why she was being punished. She only wanted one child. Maybe then her husband would love her again. But 5 more years passed and still nothing. Now by this time, Nduka no longer loved Urena, but because of the promise he made to her father, he secured cared for her. When it was Urena's turn to cook for him, she prepared his meal that night and gave it to him. But immediately he ate it, he began to cough and vomit blood. One of the wives came and shouted, "What have you done? You have poisoned our husband." They rushed him to the herbalists, and the herbalists did in fact confirm that he had eaten poison. And immediately the wives accused Urena of poisoning their husband's food. But Urena said she was innocent. She did not poison his food. If he did not poison his food, then he must take an oath. Urena was forced to swear before the oracle of the Aziza people that she did not poison her husband. She refused to do it, but because of her love for her husband, she did. Once she swore the oath in the shrine that she did not poison her husband, she began to fall ill. "You see, didn't we say it? This woman is trying to kill her husband," one of the wives said. Now they wanted to banish Urena from their compound, from their village. But Unduka, remembering the promise he made to her father, said no. Instead, they should leave her in his abandoned hut at the back of the house. She should stay there. And so it was. Urena was banished. She was isolated, ostracized. No one gave her food. No one spoke to her. She couldn't go into the main house to eat. She couldn't buy or sell. Her sickness became worse and worse and worse. No one came to check if she was okay. Now one night, Nduka was alone in his room sleeping. And Urena appeared to him. "Urena, what are you doing here?" Nduka said. Urena said that I have come to be with you, my husband. It's my turn. But Nduka was shocked. "Were you not sick? How is it that you're here?" Urena looked so beautiful, like the first time he had met her. Urena seduced him, and Nduka slept with her. The next morning, when Nduka woke up, he did not see Urena. He thought to himself that was a very strange dream. He asked his wife and children if Urena came to the main house, and they said no, she dare not enter here. Then Nduka forgot about the whole incident. After a few days, Nduka became sick. His manhood began to itch him. He began to have pores around that area, and he sent for the herbalist. The pores were getting worse, and Nduka began to smell. The herbalist told him that this type of disease can only be gotten when a man sleeps with a spirit. But Nduka said he has not slept with any spirit. One of the wives said, "Could this be Urena's handwork? Since we banished her to the back of the house, that is when this sickness started." The herbalist now told them to go and get Urena. They ran to the hut behind the house, but when they got there, Urena had died. Her body had been decomposing for a very long time. There was a strong stench of death. They screamed and shouted, "Ah, she has died, oh, she has died. Ah, how can that be?" Now it was time to bury her, but Nduka's people refused to bury her in their compound where all the wives were buried. They threw her body to the back, far, far away in one of the farms Nduka owned that was away from the compound, and there they buried her. Now Nduka's sickness became worse and worse and worse. He was smelling, the pores were so many, it was now spreading around his body. People could not come around him. It was a very, very strange sickness. Some of his wife had begun to leave him. Now, during this time, the harvest season was coming, and a lot of farmers in the Aziza kingdom were preparing for harvest. But instead of harvesting crops that they had planted, all their crops had gone rotten. They couldn't harvest any crop from any part of the kingdom. And they reported this to the king. What is going on? Have we offended the gods? The king summoned a meeting and asked his cabinet members what is really happening. One of the cabinet members said that all the lands, all the farmlands had gone bad, all the crops had died. Nobody was able to harvest anything, and this season was a season of famine. If this continues, the people will die. So the king sent for the Ezemo and asked him to ask the gods, what have we done? How have we offended them? The Ezemo walked around the kingdom and told the king that the person causing this was Urena. Which Urena is this? The king asked. Urena, Nduka's wife. What? That foreigner? Yes, the Ezemo said. The girl was maltreated on our land. She was treated as an outcast because she was not from our tribe. And now that she has died, the gods have answered her. Okay, okay, we can appease her spirit. Tell us what we have to sacrifice and appease her. Is it not what she wants? The king said. No, it will not be that easy. As the Ezemo was speaking, Urena appeared. But only the Ezemo could see Urena. And Urena told him that she was no mere spirit. She was now the goddess Zikuku. The people have to erect a shrine and worship her. The Ezemo told the king what Urena said. But the king and his cabinet members could not believe it. They said, no, Ezemo, it is either we tie her spirit or we appease her spirit. She is just a mere human being. She cannot be a goddess. And the Ezemo told them that her husband is Amadioha, the greatest god of their kingdom. If they do not worship her, we will all perish. But the king was stubborn. They all knew who Urena was. They were here when Nduka went and married her from another tribe and brought her here. How can they worship her? And so they refused. And one by one, their children began to die. All the children that Nduka had all died. His wives all died as well. Horrible deaths. And still Nduka was alive with his sickness. The king's first son died. All his cabinet members, the children, began to die one by one by one. Now they were scared. They ran to the Ezemo. Tell us, what should we do? Where should we erect the shrine for her? And the Ezemo told them they have to go under the Iroko tree and build a shrine, build a statue of Urena, and begin to worship her. Anyone who wants to conceive will go to her and call her Mama Ikuku before they can conceive and give birth to a child. Only she can allow a woman to be pregnant in this kingdom. And so it was. The people began to worship Urena, and eventually the curse upon their land was lifted.
Love.